Imagine facing off with the country's most notorious crime boss, Carlo Gambino. Former supermodel Georgia Durante did, as she lived to tell about it. But if you think that's amazing, wait until you hear the rest of her story.
She is a woman with no fear whatsoever.
I mean, her past is just an amazing story.
Angel over here. Hell's Angel over here.
And she flipped a Ferrari, and she was hanging upside down.
With Georgia, you just never know where you're going to end up.
Georgia loved the fast lane. She took it all her life.
It all started innocently enough.
My father was a golf pro, and he was training me to be on the women's tour. So I started playing golf at 9 years old. But as soon as I would get past the first hole where he couldn't see me, I would just take these golf carts and destroy them.
Georgia Durante grew up in Rochester, New York during the 1950s and 60s. She was a mischievous tomboy who loved to take risks.
I was 12 years old when I hopped a freight train and ran away from home. I really didn't want to run away from home. I just wanted to find out what was out there, what was on the other side. I got as far as Buffalo and stopped the train. And that was actually the first time I had gotten a ride in a police car.
Back in Rochester, the cocky kid acted like she owned the town. Georgia ran with a tough crowd, including local gangster Sammy Gingello.
I met Sammy G when I was 13 at a place called Skinny's, which was a hangout for hoods. He happened to witness these two guys coming on to me very crudely, and he took these two guys outside and beat the living heck out of them. My mother and father would always think that I was safely in a friend's home, spending the night.
Georgia had other plans.
I would be out with my girlfriends, hitting all these bars. Sammy G used to see me come into the door and he used to nod to the bouncer, "It's okay, let her in."
But during daylight hours, Georgia morphed into the girl next door. She soon cashed in on her all-American good looks.
I was the Kodak summer girl. That was the life-size poster that was in all the drugstores and camera shops all over the world.
Durante milked the exposure. She modeled in a variety of national ads for big-name products.
By the time I was 17, I was considered the most photographed girl in the country.
No one realized that Georgia's picture-perfect image concealed a terrible secret.
I was 17 when I was raped, and what that did was it stripped me of my self-esteem. I didn't believe in who I was.
But Georgia's high school boyfriend, Tom, did believe in her. They got married in December 1968.
Well, I became pregnant on my honeymoon, and then I felt very trapped, very trapped. I was in a marriage that I didn't want to be in. I'm 18 years old and have a child. I kind of had the absent mother syndrome thing going on. She left me with my grandparents a lot when I was younger.
The couple divorced in 1970. By then, Georgia had moved to Manhattan in search of modeling gigs, but she got sidetracked.
When I got to New York City, I got a job in an after-hour club, and it was a mob hangout. I was there a very short time when a guy had pulled out a gun, and he shot the guy next to him, and everybody scattered. And Frankie, who owned the club, threw me the car keys and said, "Georgie girl, go get the car." And they got his body down 2 flights of stairs and put him in the back seat, and I drove to Bellevue Hospital, where we dumped his body and took off.
The boys were impressed.
They could care less if this guy lived or died. It was, "Man, Georgie girl, can you drive a car?" And that is basically how I ended up driving getaway cars for the mob.
Georgie girl soon earned the respect of the most notorious mafioso in America.
She got to meet the capo di tutti the cop. She met, the #1 mob guy in the world.
I knew that Carlo Gambino was the boss of bosses, but I don't think I really understood at that age how intense that was. One of the guys said to me, "The old man really likes you." And I said, "Which old man? They were all old."
Georgia's youthful appearance offered the perfect cover.
They asked me to deliver packages and pick up packages and deliver them. Turned out that there was like millions of dollars in these packages. And, you know, it was against the law, which made it very exciting. One day they came out with their guns out and jumped in the car and said, "Step on it." And then I heard the sirens in the distance, and I knew that I had to create distance between us and those cops because somebody was going to die.
But not Georgia. She never felt so alive until her second marriage to a dangerous mobster.
Joe was like the devil. The devil could be very charming, and I fell totally in love with him.
You look in his eyes and you knew there was just kind of some kind of evil in there. He had a lot of power over my mother, a lot of power.
Joe put a gun to my head with one bullet in it and actually pulled the trigger twice.
Georgia was in, and she had no way out.
Still, she constantly dreamed of escaping the grip of the mafia. Georgia decided to roll the dice in Sin City.
I was always trying to get away from Joe. And I had gone to Las Vegas, gotten a job. Somehow he found out I was there. And when I got off of work, he was waiting for me. And he shoved me in my car and started driving out towards the desert. I knew at that point I had to jump out of the car or I was definitely going to be dead. He was slowing down for this light. I opened the door and I just jumped out, maybe 20 miles an hour. He slams on the brake, backs up as I'm rolling on the pavement, and tries to run over me with the car.
Georgia finally flagged down a cop. Joe told the officer they were having a marital dispute.
And this cop turns to me and he says, "Lady, why don't you take your problems and go home?" And I said, "Home is not the direction I'm going."
She kicked this policeman in a very vulnerable spot, and he took her to jail, and that's what saved her life.
Eventually, Georgia fled to LA with her young daughter, Tony.
I ended up living in my car for a while. It was a very scary time in my life.
We moved from place to place to place to place. I found out later that we were running from the mob.
And a federal investigation. Agents targeted Georgia as a potential mafia informant.
They thought I was going to talk to them, and they realized that I wasn't giving anything up.
The feds backed off. So did the mob. By 1978, 28-year-old Georgia plotted a new course.
She wanted to be a stunt driver. So I said, "Well, if you want to learn, we'll teach you." I spent a lot of time with her in parking lots and hitting marks. And we called her Leadfoot because when we tried to get her to stop on a mark, she'd go by at 100 miles an hour. She then finally built a reputation in the industry and actually made a very successful career out of it.
Everybody I talked to said that she would be the perfect choice as the key driver in my commercials.
I was driving a vintage Dino Ferrari. I had to do a 180 on a narrow mountain road, and the back tire had caught the soft shoulder and flipped over the embankment 3 times, and I was somersaulting to my death, heading towards a 300-foot drop-off into the ocean. And the whole time I was somersaulting, I kept thinking, oh my God, I'm wrecking a $250,000 car. And it stopped about 40 feet short of going over the cliff. But as they're taking me to the hospital, I'm thinking, why was the car so important? Why wasn't my life important?
In 1998, Georgia turned her private journal into a popular book. Durante made a splash on the talk show circuit. Everyone wanted to hear the story of the gorgeous getaway girl.
The book is so incredible that I've been talking about optioning it. Such a good lesson in her life story.
Durante's past no longer haunts her. Joe committed suicide in 1993, which gave Georgia closure on that painful relationship. And when daughter Tony struggled with an addiction to crack cocaine, Georgia patiently helped her kick the habit. These days, Tony is raising a healthy child, and Durante is the doting grandmother. Looking back, Georgia realizes she's not the one in the driver's seat.
God has watched over me for a reason, and I have survived things that I should have never survived. I think that I'm supposed to be here to help other people, show them the way, and help them to get out of their situation.
George is the type of person that took all the negatives in her life, her pain, her sorrow, her hardship, everything that is terrible that happened, and turned it around.
She has gained great strength through all the turmoil that she's been through.
And if she can drive a car for getaway and then also have this very spiritual and loving and giving life, the future for her has to be something that we can't predict.
She was abused, battered, threatened, held hostage, and she survived it.
Georgia's more than a survivor. She is a conqueror.
My favorite thing to do is to get in the car and start driving and not know where I'm going to end up. Whatever happens is going to happen. That's the adventure in life. That's what makes it exciting.
Only SUV.